many of you are with the West End Revitalization work that we've been doing. So I'll give a backstory to kind of where we were and how we got to where we are now and where our goals lie as far as where we're progressing. Okay, so prior to COVID, back in 2019, I believe it was, we were approached by John Deere Foundation. They wanted to make an investment into the city of Rock Island. And so initially, our proposal was something that, like a workforce program, something of that sort, to which John Deere thought was a great idea, but they told us and asked us to dream a little bit bigger and dream about something beyond just a workforce program, which may be included in that, right? So that's what was done. A group of people were convened to do a community assessment in 2020. It started, I think we started convening in January 2020. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020, which altered the plans of actually being able to go face to face, get in front of people to do the said assessment how it was planned at the time. And then shortly, during that time, after we had to stop that work, so to speak, numerous things happened in our community during that time where we were able to have different kind of engagements with people's virtually, some in person with safety precautions, but we were able to, different people in the community were able to do the assessment and give this information back to the King Center and Enterprise, which is the consulting firm that we've been working with to get this data compiled, right? And so once that data was compiled, there was a 240+ page assessment that was given back to us. We also have a 40-page or so summary of that, all of which is on the website, which you can look on the back of that paper I gave you if you really want to get some reading done. 240 pages, you can knock it out in your spare time. But if you want to do 40 pages, that's cool too. But I'll give you the quick synopsis of what it was in there. Essentially, that assessment articulated disparities within the West End. And by the West End, I'll be clear, and you see the little map there on the top right of that paper there. There's 3 census tracts in the West End, from the bridge moving south up to 18th Avenue, and from Sunset area, Sunset Marina, 18th Avenue, coming east. So we do get a little bit of downtown in there. It stops off at 17th Street, gets back to 15th Street, 14th Ave, kind of gets funky, and then it even goes up to the hill along 18th Avenue by the old Mother Everest cover, right? And so I gave you my best detailed explanation of that map. I didn't really see it much, but that's the border we're talking about. And like I said, the reason why we were going there is because the 3 census tract areas shows that these areas are some of the most under-resourced, under-invested areas, not only in Illinois, but not only in our area, but Illinois, right? And so it provides proof to a cause, one may say, right? And so back to this assessment. It detailed disparities, it detailed assets we have in our community, like our schools, like parks, peoples, active clubs actually mentioned there, I believe, the King Center. It also details recommendations behind the data to where we can improve and how we can improve. And if you look on the bottom or on the left side there, we have 5 areas. And so last November, there was a steering committee that was created. 7 people's community members, most of which I'm sure you all know. Ms. Vanessa Taylor, hope I say everybody's name, Isaac Carr, Ms. Tila Short, Ms. Jet, Marissa Cantu, Ms. Linda Sargent, and I hope that is 7. If not, I'm going to say the next one and the next comes up to. But all 7 of these peoples were convened, and they actually took their 240-page document, read it through, analyzed it, and came up with 5 areas that we're going to focus on with recommendations from that assessment. And so we have civic capital, we have infrastructure, We have housing, we have assets and income, and economic vitality, right? And each of these areas has roughly 3 to 5 recommendations they're working on that they have been prioritizing to work toward what we're calling SMART goals, right, from the recommendations. And so the steering committee recruited, some would say, roughly 50 peoples to be involved in these working groups behind these 5 issue areas. And these working groups have been meeting since, I believe, May, right? And I was hired in June of this year. And so my primary role, outside of helping to articulate the message, bring more awareness to it, but also I'm tasked with coordinating the working groups and the steering committee to be able to stay on task, right? So that way we can meet our February goal of having a said plan behind each of these areas, each of the working groups, clear and concise, so that way we can have not only a plan that's clear and strategize, but also work and go back to our investors so we can provide them with the set budget that we would need. And so I think it's also important to mention that to get this work started, besides the John Deere investment, the City of Rock Island also has made a $100,000 investment to help start us off a little bit. And that's actually in some ways in which I am able to do this day to day. And so I said that because I think it's important to note that there is stake of the game behind the belief that we can pursue this in the ways in which we are looking to do so. And so that's my synopsis. And I will say this, I want to be clear on this too. Work with the working groups, even early on before we got that far, there was a lot of talk and frustration, rightfully so, behind times in which we done similar things and we not have had results, right? And I'm sure all of you in this room can think about model cities, and that's just one, right? And different examples of things that we could have seen fall through better, right? And that's not to say that, I've said it to say because I want to make sure I recognize that I'm aware of that, right? And I'm aware of how that could lead to distrust, that could lead to why are we doing this again, that could lead to a lot of different opinions that would not be helpful, one would say, right? Rightfully so, right? But I think one thing that is a little different here, and I'm preaching to the working groups, are we have investors secured, ready to move forward with that investment so long we do the work. And so I preach to the working groups, if we stay consistent, if you're in housing, Mr. Mitra is in our housing group, if you're in housing, we're talking about our housing issues. We're not going to talk about infrastructure issues because that takes away time and focus behind our mission. And if you're not willing to move forward in this work, knowing that some things we're going to have recommended may challenge our community to step up, we're not going to be successful. If we want to put all the onus, responsibility, accountability elsewhere, we're not going to be able to be successful no matter what goes on. And so I am happy to say that I believe we're getting some good work done. We're staying focused. February is approaching because we're in fall now, I believe. But I think we're right where we want to be. Hello, how are you doing? I believe we're right where we want to be as of now, being in September. And so I will open up to questions if you have any. But I really want to come here. I asked Ms. Anna to put me on the Ms. Anna to talk to Ms. Robinson about putting me on the agenda because I wanted to allow you all to be more aware, of what we're doing, but also you all are vital to our community. Your experiences, your networks, your belief in our community shows by you're still here and how you're involved, right? And so I feel it's very important to articulate a message to you all behind where we are, where we're looking to go, so that way you're informed so that when people ask you, you can give them the best answer you can, but also encourage them to not look at what has not happened and look at it in a way in which a perspective of an attitude of what we can do and what we will do. And so with that, I will answer any questions that I can. Okay. If you had, you're here.
I want to know, when are they going to fix up the streets down here?
I think that's part of the infrastructure's task, and that's not going to be all done with this work, right? And I'm with you on that, and so that's something that we have to attack in different avenues as well beyond just this. I believe City Council with Moses taking pictures, I believe, really rallying. A lot of work that we're trying to do here. For example, Civic Capital. One of their recommendations is to organize peoples in the community to advocate for ourselves, right? I think one thing that we struggle with is I may go to talk about an issue, and then you may go, and then you may go, but we don't collectively go. And if there's no collective to it, there's no, I guess you say, lack of words, bite. It's easy to tell an individual or ignore one individual. It's a lot harder to ignore a collaborative. And so that's one thing, and I'm not saying that this work will accomplish all of that, but I said that to say, that's one thing that in this work we're doing here, we're looking to do is create a more collaborative ideal and agency and plan here in our community so that we can actually advocate for ourselves behind streets, behind lights, behind roads, behind sidewalks, parks, whatever the case may be, schools, all inclusive.
I have a question, maybe Ms. Mitra, about the housing and that. Is there some sort of a plan? I got all these empty lots to try to get housing done, and then also businesses in the West End, a grocery store, a Dollar General, something, so we don't have to go up the hill all the time to get our needs.
Yes, ma'am. That's talked about extensively, not only in housing for empty lots and gardens and other things, right? But also in economic vitality and assets and income. They talk about businesses and grocery stores, and so I will mention we are working with like Miles Brainerd, who's on the CD, the director of the Community Economic Development here at Rock Island. He's on our housing group, and so why I said that is because the city of Rock Island currently has what is a community land banking system that they work with Moline and I think East Moline. And so what that is, that's a creative way for a state or a government, right, a municipality, to purchase a property that it may be deteriorating, might have potential, but lay people cannot usually afford at the price in which it may be going for. So they can't afford it, and they can then sell it at a price that which can be affordable, and then it can be revitalized and recuperated in a way in which it works for the city or it works for residents. And so they're just starting. That's not exactly what we're doing, but I said that to mention one of the goals. I'm getting a little detail here. One of the recommendations for the housing is to expand inspections and help tenants with their tenant rights, right? And so if you can imagine the SMART goal that may come from that, and I mentioned how we want to organize people, right? And then I mentioned that the city is involved. And there's another goal that includes working on creating a community land trust, which is similar to a community land bank that the city has, but it's owned by the community, and then able to be a property that may be sold at rates. And you follow what I'm getting at. So without me being too clear on the specifics, because we're still trying to iron those out, I wanted to kind of articulate that we are thinking about that. We are trying to be clear about that. And like I said, that they're doing really good work, and that is about the grocery stores. That comes up often. And then I just mentioned to the group and meetings that we're having. September is like the last Friday of August, I think it was, the governor just signed a bill about food deserts.
Yeah.
If we're not one, they're lying. So my point in saying that is, it's gonna be our job, talk about organizing, talk about advocating, talking about all these things. We have to go pursue that. It's my political joke, you know, pursue that portion of the pig. Right? We gotta bring that back here and make an argument with our representatives who represent us, right? And the community that we need some of that monies, some of the resources behind not only this, that, whatever other environmental, health, you keep going on and on behind those 5 things. We have to focus on that. So, yes.
Okay.
No problem. Yes, sir.
What is considered, is the other side of 18th Avenue not the West End?
It is, and so I'm glad you asked that. So, because we have these, the focus on this area, right? It does not go further south than the 18th Avenue. Does not mean you're excluded from the West End. Data, we're in a driven data world, right? A data-driven world. And I mentioned earlier behind the 3 census tracts that happen to be connected in this area, right? And that's not to say the census tracts are not favorable elsewhere, right? But you look at how severe or how the disparity in this area, it makes an argument behind such a need. And I have this crazy belief that when you fix one area of your house, the other area of your house will start, you walk in that room and be like, well, that new carpet here, I might need new flooring here. I might want a new ceiling fan. And I've seen that experience because I'm fixing my house now. But my point here is, we can focus and have a good focus here. Surely it would span a block over and then the next block over, because that's how work like this is done. So, no, you're not excluded. You're very much included. All right, so I only got 3. I did really well, Mally. You know, take a note.
Yeah, I got you.
Awesome. I appreciate that. So, like I said, I actually gave you my cards, which I just got. I'm so proud of them. That's why I'm, giving them out. You are the first ones that I'm actually handing them out to. Thank you. And then also, I'm sorry, I didn't have to get on you all. And also on the back there, when I said the website, I'm sorry. Oh, you didn't give you any cards? You want this way? And then look on the back of that 2-pager. That's what we call this paper I gave you, the 2-pager. I also have, I believe it has the website and my name, I believe, maybe my number, I'm not sure. And so, if you can see me around, have any other questions, I will be happy to be stopped and answer as best I can. And then if you have any ideas of how you would help get the message out or want to be involved, reach out to me and we can figure it out, I'm sure.
I have another question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the deadline is February 2024. So what if you're not completed in your assessments? Do you lose this money?
No, we're going to be done for one, but I had no reason to believe that this is a hardcore deadline, like do it or else.
Okay.
That'll be done in bad faith, and I believe the people who we're working with, our investors, they're very much involved where we are now in the process. We meet with them again, I think in November, October. It's on my calendar. We talk to them regularly. They're giving us more than just potential dollars. They're helping us with other resources. And so I don't believe they're operating out of a hardcore deadline behind February. But I want to, since you asked, I want to make, even when in July 8th, we convened all the working groups and the steering committee, because the first initial meetings I had in June with the working groups, I noticed we weren't focused because everybody understands the problems beyond just housing, if you're in the housing group, right? And that's why they're talking about schools, talking about roads, talking about anything but housing. And so we convene together to show everybody that, hey, I'm an asset and income, but Miss Amitra is on housing. I can trust Miss Amitra. Okay, Ashley Harris, he's on this. Okay, I can trust him. And so we met, and then we showed everybody recommendations of each group along with the people's there, right? So that way we can get people to really focus, because we're explaining to everybody that, hey, February is real, and not because it's or else. It's real because we want to ensure and show that we mean what we say, and that this is urgent to us.
Right.
It's one thing to tell someone else it's urgent, and they treat it that way, but we're showing you the urgency in which we believe it lies. And so that's why we're meeting, went from meeting once a month as each working group to now we're meeting twice a month, which means I have, 5 times 2, 10 meetings a month with just the working groups alone, and so because it means something. And so, I believe we'll get done by February, but that's not an or else thing either. Okay, all right. Are you still getting here, Melly? Okay, all right, you all. I have to pick up some more cards and handouts. I'll be we'll be getting some more people, so I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you.